Welcome back to Celebrating Culture. As part of the process of country healing, when it's had a lot of conflict, you have to deal with what do you do? And voter rights is a big thing. Other issues come up. My guest right now is Sal Perricone, who's actually studied a monument in New Orleans called the Battle of Liberty Monument. Sal, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here, Charlie.
So Sal, this monument spans maybe 20 years approximately in the history of New Orleans, and it starts off with the 1872 vote?
Yeah, in 1872 we had an election. We had two governors essentially at one time, one representing the Democrats, who were the indigenous New Orleanians, and Republicans, who represented the Reconstruction government. Macaroni was the Democrat, Kellogg was the Republican, or the Reconstructionist. It was a controversial election. There was allegations of voter suppression by the Reconstructionists against the Democrats. And during 1873 was a cauldron of dissent. In fact, the Democrats went all the way to Washington to appeal to U.S. Grant.
Now, I understand that actually the electoral votes for Louisiana did not count in 1870.
That's true. That's true.
There was such confusion that the feds said, we're not even going to count your vote.
No, and
which is unheard of.
They tried. They went through the court system. They went to the President of the United States, and they wouldn't get any relief. So we go now into 1874, September, and things are not getting any better.
And there's an election coming up in November.
Mm-hmm. And the battle took place.
I understand that the police actually supervised some of the voter registration.
It's called the Metropolitan Police, and its leader was Algernon Badger. People essentially felt disenfranchised. Democrats felt disenfranchised. And also, there was allegations by the Metropolitan Police of warrantless searches, illegal arrest.
Similar to today, confiscating guns.
1874, the SS Mississippi docked in the river with a cargo of weapons consigned to a Democrat known as the Leeds Foundry. Reconstructionists seized the SS Mississippi and denied possession of the weapons to the Democrats, which only aggravated the situation even more. So you have voter suppression and you have Second Amendment rights suppression, along with all these other allegations of warrantless searches and arrest and detention of people without probable cause.
We have that go on 1874, but then we fast forward to 1891.
Mm-hmm.
The monument isn't erected. It doesn't exist at that point.
No.
And understand that this is where we're here today at the Italian Museum, because they're focusing on that incident in 1891 here.
In October 1890, the police chief, David C. Hennessy, was assassinated, and the Italians got the blame for it. 19 were indicted, 9 went to trial, 6 were acquitted, and 3 was a hung jury.
250 were actually arrested.
There was a dragnet that night. The mayor, Joseph A. Shakespeare, locked up 250 Italians without any proof, without any probable cause. And his order was, wherever you find an Italian, lock them up, put them in jail.
There's all this mystery around it, but they just focused on 250 Italians.
The real issue here was control of the docks. The Italians controlled the stevedores, the docks, and the shipping industry. They wanted control of the docks, and Hennessy had made a lot of enemies during his tenure.
So this monument right now that we look at today, it says it's to both sides. I mean, it actually has a phrase on there that recognizes we don't know really who's right and who's wrong. A lesson of the past to help us for the future.
Exactly.
The police department was defending, I understand, a black lieutenant governor.
C.C. Antoine.
Came through slavery. His grandfather was a slave, and now he's a businessman, insurance, cotton, printing, and he ends up becoming lieutenant governor of Louisiana. He's relying on the police to defend him, which they did.
He did.
How many died that day?
The rebellion went on for 3 days. 100 casualties, 60 died.
Were any of them policemen?
Yes, their names are on the monument.
So you have the names of these policemen who died on
the monument.
As well as the people that attacked on the monument.
Yes.
They had lost their gun control rights. There was voter suppression. So these gentlemen were also had a legitimate beef.
They had basically no rights.
There's one part here which fascinated me. The Italian government was thinking about declaring war on America?
After the assassination of the Italians in Parish Prison, the Italian government found out about it, and they threatened war against the United States. At this time, after post-Civil War, the United States military had demilitarized. The Italian Navy was the 4th largest in the world. They had 1 million men under arms, and they threatened to blockade the Mississippi River. So the Attorney General of the United States ordered the U.S. Attorney here in New Orleans to investigate the district attorney's case against the 11 Italians, and he reported back that there was no case against the 11 Italians, which precipitated the reparations paid to the families of the deceased 11 men.
Now Sal, besides here, this is a big thing, and many people don't know about it or don't know the whole history. But actually, if you go to Las Vegas, it's in a museum in Las Vegas, they talk about it. And we used to have the Wax Museum here in New Orleans on Conti Street, which closed last year. But that had a display about it. For many years or decades, this was a big part of the city's history.
This is one of the saddest episodes in New Orleans history that no one really knows about.
You know, and over time, they've repurposed Liberty by over the years. You have an idea that you like to see it done.
Yeah, keep in mind, Charlie, the Battle of Liberty Place, or the rebellion, happened in 1874. That monument was not erected until the latter part of 1891, and the killing of the 11 Italians in the parish prison was used as a fundraiser to construct and erect that monument. What I'd like to see done is that monument rededicated to the 11 innocent Italians that were assassinated in that prison.
I think that's a great idea. And actually, when I was reading some of the briefs right now, I actually saw that Southern Poverty Law Center actually said the same thing you did just now.
Is that right?
They did in a brief recently. They actually stated that the hanging inspired the city, some of the people in the city to write the checks to fund this.
Exactly.
So that's a great idea to repurpose that monument, because it does show so much going on with voter suppression and other issues that come into play during that era.
Exactly.
Right.
I wish it would happen.
Right. Sal, I want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Charlie.
And all the work that you're doing in New Orleans.
All
Thank
right,
you.
thank you, sir.
Ciao. Welcome to the Italian Piazza in New Orleans, Louisiana. And right next door is the American Italian Cultural Center, which hosts numerous events throughout the year and is a great place to read about the Italian history. When you subscribe to Awe News, you'll get updated on all the videos we're making as far as the celebrities that come into New Orleans to talk about Italian culture, the parties, the events, what's going on. It's just a great way to learn about Italian history, the values, and what makes Italian being fun. E parlare italiano.